Walk into your manager's office, or any manager's office. Most likely, you'll find them behind a computer. Maybe they're writing an email to their subordinates about upcoming changes. Maybe they're learning that their top selling product now has competition in Japan or China. Or maybe they're on their smartphone, placing an order for their dinner later on. Whatever it may be, managers and leaders have a lot of information at their disposal today. Managers and leaders today struggle with global competition, change, a struggle to be accountable, and a lack of effective communication. Managers should be able to use their resources and information to their advantage. However, many feel overwhelmed. It is an advantage to have information if you know what to do with it. There is global competition, constant change, accountability issues, and a lack of communication. To be effective, one must address all the issues. According to the article, 21st Century Leadership, Redefining Management Education, Educating Managers in the Modern Era. With their increased complexity and globalization, organizations are demanding skills and abilities from their leaders that are only beginning to be understood. Never mind mastered. One of the most important of these will be the ability to balance employee needs globally and customer wants globally and locally, a balance that will become harder to strike and to strike profitably and efficiently in the coming years. The idea that competition is becoming global, as well as resources, means managers and leaders must be able to understand globalization and be able to balance needs demanded from customers both globally and locally, and possibly even their subordinates. In the article, Face-to-Face Communication, Why It Still Matters for Leadership, Robert Bullock shares, in a Forbes survey of 760 business executives, 8 out of 10 still prefer face-to-face contact over virtual communication. Although digital communication is here to stay, face-to-face communication is still important as it leads to better understanding and meaning, such as being able to see nonverbal cues, as you see in this image. When it comes to accountability, people tend to point the finger or blame someone else. In the article, How Leaders Inspire Change, the article addresses accountability. The article states, like trust, accountability has a direct impact on a company's performance. Organizations that actively ingrain accountability into their culture outperform their competitors. Companies must take responsibility and address accountability. The article 25 Essential 21st Century Leadership Skills include aiming to be the best in the world or addressing globalization in business. Recognizing communicating is part of everything you do. Being relentlessly adaptable and learning from public failures and mistakes. A lack of accountability, ineffective communication, failure to respond well to change, and globalization will all lead to poor management and leadership. In the article, The 5 Management Skills Every 21st Century Manager Needs, they quote Amazon leader Steve Bezos. You need the humility to remind yourself that you've got to get better at everything you do. I don't know about you, but I've never done growing my company or myself. When things go wrong, you must take responsibility. You must learn from your mistake. In addition, you must learn to adapt to new communication styles. Instead of using authority, a 21st century leader would utilize the idea of collaboration. Adapting to change is difficult for traditional managers. Traditional managers like to use their way of doing things and stick to it. 21st century leaders make the vision clear and get their team on board. Also noted in the article is embracing the digital. Instead of being overwhelmed, learn how to use technology to your advantage. With many different applications, resources, and information that can be accessed digitally, Determine how you can use the information, from recruiting great employees to project and team management, as shown in the picture. Let's take a minute to visualize the difference between an old school manager and a manager of the 21st century. From the hiring process to using technology. As an old school manager, during the hiring process, it's all about grilling the candidate on how they could fit your company, and the power was all in your hands. You see yourself as the boss at the top. You make your authority known and enforce company rules and values. You point the finger when something goes wrong. You see only the tasks in front of you and spend your days solving small problems. You focus on discipline and employee weakness. You see technology as a complex tool and that it is too difficult to learn. A 21st century manager approaches hiring entirely different. A 21st century manager takes on the approach of having a conversation. In the 21st century, interviews are more of a two-way process. You use technology to your advantage, from the hiring process to team organization. You see yourself as a leader rather than a boss. You focus on employee strengths. You collaborate with employees and other leaders. You make the vision clear and make sure everyone is on board alongside you. I strongly advise any managers or future managers to think about their personal development. When you focus on how you can be a better leader, your subordinates and other leaders will pick up on your personal development. You can choose to lead by example. Instead of being the traditional point your finger, degrading manager, you can be one who focuses on strengths instead of weaknesses, values opinions of others, communicates effectively in a face-to-face setting, and uses digital resources and shows accountability. In the article, Fast Rising CEOs Have These Four Things in Common, as stated by leadership consultant Elena Botello, the differentiation between who succeeds and who fails is not whether or not they make mistakes. It's whether they use them for learning or become so ashamed that they can't move forward.